With me now is Keaton Gillogly, the voice of the Montana State Bobcats. Keaton, for the first time in program history, the Bobcats are 10-0. What was it like being on the call last week for that history-making game?
Yeah, it was fun. It happened pretty fast. Montana State really came out running and kind of just didn't really stop. But it was a lot of fun, and you could tell there was a different level in the crowd. And Montana State has just kind of stayed so focused on what's directly in front of them. Now, what's in front of them is stuff that has never been done in 120 years of playing Bobcat football.
You called the brawl last season. You called the history-making game last weekend. This weekend, they are playing UC Davis for a share, at least, of the Big Sky title. What's the most exciting part of calling games where there is so much at stake?
These games are honestly the easiest to call. There's just so much. The storylines are so thick; they go so deep. The crowd is going to be really there and exciting. And the fun part about calling a game like this is you don't need to be flowery. You don't need to be over the top descriptive. You don't need to do anything special. You can just kind of really let the game breathe and be the show, and let the crowd be the show. And all you have to say is there's a Big Sky title on the line, and that is going to resonate with everybody across the Treasure State and really Big Sky country.
How many Big Sky teams do you think will be in the playoffs in 2 weeks when that final bracket is set?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of to be determined on the field coming down the stretch. Obviously, I think Montana State, UC Davis, Montana looking good. Idaho looks very good in terms of what they're going, depending on the what's going on with Jack Lane, their quarterback there. But it really is going to come down for NAU. Just what are they going to look like these last couple of weeks? I feel like they're really the true bubble team right now. They were right there with Montana in Montana. They were right there with Idaho at Idaho with the injury to their quarterback. I think when you kind of dig a little deeper and you look at the eye test that NAU has put together, there's a lot of good things there. So if they continue to show up, show out, show what they can be, what their ceiling is, and show that they are hot going into these final two games and going into that selection Sunday, then I think they've got a good chance. And I think it's really good for the league when we get to see a first-year head coach in Brian Wright, first-year head coach in Tim Plow over at UC Davis, doing really good things in this conference. That's great for the health of the conference, both short-term and long-term. So there's a great shot to get five if these guys continue to perform like we know they can on the field.
Well, let's kind of make some picks of what we think is going to happen this weekend on the field. We'll start with Portland State heading to Montana. Who do you think wins this one?
As I take a look at this game, the other part is how good is this Montana defense? They struggled at the beginning of the year, put together a good stretch against some teams who are in the bottom half of the standings in the Big Sky, and then gave up 30 points to UC Davis, but they did hang a couple of 3-and-outs there. So how good does this Montana defense play, and what does Dante Chachere do? And my pick's going to be Dante Chachere taking care of business, and I think Portland State's going to find a way to get this win behind a fine senior performance by one of the great quarterbacks in this league.
Another team hoping for an upset this week is, of course, Weber State over Idaho. Who do you like in this one?
When I look at this game, I think Idaho is going to get it done, and I think they're going to grab an early lead, and I think they're going to control the clock like they love to do. And I think Idaho finds a way to get this win, and I think at the end of the day, they find themselves with a bye in that first round of the playoffs.
Finally, our game of the week, Montana State heading to UC Davis. The winner of this one gets at least a share of the Big Sky title. Who wins this one?
One of the really interesting questions is what's that final score going to be? Like, how many points you're going to need to win this game? I'd probably put the over-under probably around 32, 35, kind of in that range. I think at the end of the day, the experience the Bobcats have had in big games time and again is going to be what kind of shines through here. And I think Montana State finds a way to get it done in what's going to be a really, really tight game on Saturday.
Great couple final weeks of Big Sky football coming up. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all your insight, and enjoy UC Davis this weekend.
Yes, will do. Thank you, Megan. Can't wait.